Hello everyone, I'm going to show you some ways to catch accessibility defects during unit and end-to-end testing. First, a bit about myself. I'm Emily. I'm a developer in Toronto, and I currently work for a company named Narwhal. So this is how fixing accessibility bug feels like to me. Basically doing a lot of patch fixes. As a developer, accessibility bug is a type of bug I do not wish to be assigned to. In my past project, accessibility testing is usually done at the very end of the project. By the time I need to fix those bugs, the page is already built. It is very hard to make any structure change and move components around. This talk will show you some ways for developers to automate some accessibility testing while we're doing the development. I'm going to show you how I add accessibility testing to this simple website I've created. It is a search engine for Studio Ghibli. So Studio Ghibli is a Japanese animation company. This simple app would allow you to search any films and characters under this studio. So this is what this website looks like. You can search anything. For example, princess. If I enter princess here and search, you show me any princess-related films. If I search, for example, Kiki here, you will show me films and the characters related to Kiki. I could click the film here and it show me the film detail. Quickly go through the tech stack. Front end is React. Monorepo tool is NX, which is built by my company Narwhal. NX is a powerful tool that will set up unit and end-to-end testing for you out of the box. So I highly recommend you to check it out. For unit testing, I'm going to use Jest and JestX. For end-to-end testing, I'm going to use Cypress and the Cypress X. For unit testing, I use Jest and the JestX. You can install the JestX and it's typing, use the command here. Now with the JestX installed, I need to set it up. I've added a setup file named jest.setup.js here. And inside the jest config file, I need to add a key setup file after environment and point to the jest.setup.js here. Inside jest.setup.js, this is what it looks like. It's very simple. You just have an import from jest.x here. And it also extends Jest's expect function to include to have no violations from JestX. Now the setup is done. I want to unit test the search form component on the top here. It's a really simple search form. It has a text field and a search submit button. Currently, you have a default test to check whether it renders successfully or not. Now I want to add unit test for the component to check whether it has any accessibility violation. Note I've imported from JestX on the top here. Then I add a unit test to check for accessibility violations. It renders the component here. And then it passes the container to the X from JestX library. You will expect the output here to have no violations. The unit test will be very simple. It has 2 lines here, and it's pretty easy to add. Now when I run the unit testing again, I will notice that the test failed, which is actually great. It means the tests are actually working. It will show the accessibility errors in the console here. Developer could add similar tests to each component of the app. If all the components are accessible, the entire app are more likely to be accessible. It is good that will allow developers to add accessibility unit tests while just building the components. The components could be standalone and do not even need to be show up on the browser page. This will help to avoid accessibility bug at the component level. How about page level? I'm going to talk about end-to-end testing. It's going to use Cypress and the Cypress X. Here are the commands to install Cypress X. I have a Cypress test for the search page, which is basically entering text Kiki in the search field, submit the search form, and make sure it redirects to the results page with the right query parameter. So this is what the Cypress test looks like. You enter the text field and redirect to the results page. To set up Cypress X testing, I need to add typings first. In the tsconfig file, under compile option types, I need to add Cypress X here. Also in the support file, I add the import from Cypress X. Now I'm done with the Cypress X testing. I'm ready to add Cypress X test. In the before each statement, I need to add a line to inject X here. Then I simply add a test and just have one line. Check accessibility. Now I run the Cypress test again. Notice it failed. I have added a console log to output accessibility violations on the search page here. This will help test app on the page level and prevent accessibility-related regression bug. With all these tools, it will be easier for developers to avoid accessibility bugs during development rather than going through them when the entire app is built. This is the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening.